Hello and welcome to the Craft Bar. It's time for another happy hour, our chance to slow down at the end of the day and enjoy something creative together. Today I'm sharing a Valentine's project that is very satisfying, a little bit dreamy, and definitely a bit inspiring. So grab something to drink, get comfortable, and let's unwind. All right, these are all beautiful crafts made for the Valentine's Day, and I'm going to go through them one by one. My mom made these things, and she was generous enough to share with me her list of materials, so I'll highlight those for you. But just gaze, as I did, at all of the beautiful things she's made here. We've got wall hangings, we've got a banner, beautiful little tins that she's embellished, a box, and then handmade Valentines as well. So let's take a look more closely at them. I guess where to start? Okay, I'll push the large things here, and I will stack the little tins on top. And then we'll start with this banner, because that may be the thing to take a look at first. And I'll share with you some of the materials my mom used. So real quick, on top, everything you see has been inked in the edges with her favorite Tim Holtz Distressed Oxide. Now this one she used Aged Mahogany. She said that was because it had a bit of red in the tone, and she thought that would go well with all the pinks and reds and maroons and magentas she was going to be using. And yeah, Aged Mahogany. So Tim Holtz Distress Oxide by Ranger, one of her faves. In her cards, she used the Be My Valentine, and it's a rubber stamp on a wood backing. She found this set of they're a bit Valentine's themed. They're more like these definitely say Valentine greetings on them. So I see that. She's got a stack of cards, and they are pre-done tags that are blank on the back, but have kind of vintage looking pictures on them, and it came with a twine to turn this into tags that you could give on Valentine's. She's had this a while, she said, this Paper Studio Fibers pack. I think that Paper Studio must be a Hobby Lobby product. And very, very nice to attach that. Couple of sequins, some embellishments. These are from Dollar Tree Recollections butterflies. 74 cents marked down. Paper Studio. These were cute hearts. They have a lot of dimension. Look how thick they are. Some more Paper Studio. Little satin bows. Then some red stickers. Glitter hearts. Multi-purpose distributed by Momenta. Little Yellow Bicycle Art. Not sure where she got those. Little Yellow Bicycle Art. That's the LYB, the logo in the top. And then finally, she had some papers. She got this vintage Valentine's Day scrapbook paper, 8.5 by 8.5. She said she got this on Amazon, and this is nice. It's double-sided. It's 8.5 by 8.5, so that's not typically a size I see. But double-sided, very nice. And you can see it's got some things that, I guess those might work as cut-aparts. Depends on how you wanted to use it, but... Okay. Pretty. She found an ephemera book, Valentine's Day Vintage Ephemera Book for Junk Journal, Scrapbook, Cutout, and Collage. This has 200 pieces in it. And I guess, I'm not sure if it came this way. It has instructions, that's cool, how to use this book. And then I can see where she's cut things out, quite a few. And so it appears that it's an image on the front, but on the back is this sort of Art Deco scallops design, and that's the same for just about all of them. Here's maybe what you might call the cut apart section, although they're all going to have to be fussy cut. But 200 pages. It is by Infinite Craftworks. All right, so all these things, last but not least, to help her make a lot of the paper punches or the paper edges, she used this punch, a Fiskars, the scallop with the cutout. The heart she found on sale when she was down the wedding aisle, just looking, kind of as she was going down every aisle. The chiffon ribbon, she picked that up in the scrapbooking section, and then she used the twine from that set of Valentines that she found on Amazon. And I like what she did. She took the piece of, I guess this is chiffon. I might have called that, it's not gauze, so chiffon is probably more correct. And then she wove it around each side of the heart and knotted it. Just a very simple. Here she didn't. She just wove it, just wrapped it around it and came and did that with these. So she knotted the first side and went under, and then she did the same thing. She went across and wrapped it over and wrapped it in behind one side of the heart. So if you did it this way, you could see it like that. She connected all the hearts together, and then to add even more to it, and you know it's going to get a little bit caught up, but it's going to fray, and that adds more to that vintage charm. She added these very simple Valentines that she bought, these Valentine tags. And so you've got very charming, very little children's scenes. They're children in adult settings, though. Right? The little girl with the hat box, that could be just her mom. She's got a big apple in her pocket. You can see that. They look dressed way beyond their age. Here's the cherub, little Cupid to my sweetheart. The little boy in his little court clothing. Aw, little. They're not balloon, but maybe they are little paper hearts on wires. Another little Cupid. She got wings. Two more. These are pretty. Little boy is proposing. He's got the hearts. He's saying hi. She doesn't look very interested, right? She's like, I don't know. Where are the flowers? I don't want to be just monogamous yet. And little Galentines. Very fun. She got her baby doll with her. So this is a nice project that you can make this with just materials. This is a good example of a project to try that has a beautiful result to make a garland that my mom right now is using to embellish her bulletin board. This does not require, it has a beautiful finished outcome, but it does not, with love to my mom, don't be upset, not a lot of skill, if you will. You buy the materials, you know, it's a little bit fussy sometimes to deal with, but thread it around. These were pre-cut. She did not make that. She bought it and then she tied a nice bow. If you can tie your shoes, you can make this happen. So don't feel, sometimes I think people think, oh, I've got to make a bow. Y'all, you can make that bow. That's not hard. And that's what she did. This is a beautiful finished good all on its own. So keep that in mind because this is a good length too. She's got, let me not guesstimate, right? If that's 12, well over 2 feet of width here with the garland and the nice two tails. So easy to make, very pretty. Lots of ways you could add this around your house or your office, any place. So that's a fun one. I like it. She made a pretty Valentine's garland. Now the next thing she made were these embellished tins. And this is a project that requires more work, certainly, than this, which I think this is probably the least amount of crafting skill, but still a beautiful out product. She found these tins on Amazon, and I think they did come in a pack of 4. She looked inside, looked around, and she found some Valentine's pictures of candy and angels from the Amazon book that I showed you. She cut them out and put them inside. She found this, said I like that. She found some chocolate box images. And then to make it shiny, because it is a matte paper, she used glossy accents, which if you're familiar is a glue that has sort of a shellac finish to it, and it will mound. And then to embellish the top, she cut out a felt heart, or a heart from felt. She used some rhinestone stickers left over from any number of stickers we've had. And then one of these very cute, very mounded heart hard stickers, and I think she added a little bit of extra glue behind them to really make them adhere down, because gluing straight to felt requires a bit of extra effort, so it's a good idea if you're doing felt, you're putting something on it, add some more glue. This one's sweet. Again, from the images, the vintage images paper pack, she fussy cut out the little cherub or the Cupid. I guess just kind of your choice on that. Very sweet though. And she used a rounding edge. That or she did it by hand and did a very nice job making it look. You see that? The heart. And then she inked her edges a bit. And then inside this one is another chocolate box. Very sweet. When I look at that, it makes me want some candy. It definitely makes me want some candy. This one, she's added a heart to the top. She's glued that down with some E6000 most likely. And in here, a vintage rose. And then the final one, she put a felt heart, some rhinestones, the button, and then she added a bow to it. So these are similar, only fewer rhinestones. And this one got the big bow. And inside, just nice felt box interior. So this might be good to gift a small piece of jewelry or some earrings. Very pretty. And together they're adorable. All four of these is a sweetness. I can help myself. I start adding things together. Cute. This was a nice, soothing project that doesn't take more than an hour or two. Gather your items together. These are Valentines. Now these definitely took more than the time for either of these crafts, but not a whole lot. So she's got some PET washi tape here, or I guess those aren't the same thing. What is clear tape with a pattern on it, so I'm guessing that's a PET tape. And then a cutout piece of paper. The piece of paper had the roses on it. The square has the roses on it. But the angel, the cherub on top, that she fussy cut out very nicely. And then the 5 rhinestones, of course. So in here, I think that the paper came with that scallop edge, but she followed it very nicely. And here, it does look like she inked this edge in some way, because it's got a bit of like chalk lining. And then inside, Be My Valentine. And that is one piece. The square with the roses is part of the paper, but the Be My Valentine is a stamp that she applied herself with an acrylic block in her ink. This is a cutie. This is a sweetie. She just loved that little face. For a minute, I thought she had her tongue sticking out. I was very confused when I looked again. But it's a little heart. She's holding up a little heart. And then the 4 hearts to mimic that, and the hearts all in the background. Very sweet. Here she used the paper punch at the bottom and then added a bit of inking to it. So again, very nice effect, but very simple. Fold it up, Be My Valentine. These are nice to give because they set up well. I like these kind of cards. You know, if you put them on the ledge, you put them on your counter, you put them by your keys, then you see it. It's pretty. You can leave it up for a few days. Leave it up for a month. I don't care. No one's judging you in your own home. Leave your decorations up if you like. Okay, so that's the second one. Another sweetie. Oh, look. Like that little cowboy hat of hearts. So cute. Little pearls around it. Hearts and hearts and hearts and hearts. Just hearts everywhere. And a little doily. That's what that punch really kind of mimics, is a doily. And then same thing. Be My Valentine. So now we're getting into, they're getting older. Now you've got little teens a courting. We got a young man and a young lady. And ooh, he's brought her some pretty roses. And the embellished rhinestones to fill in the half of the heart. So you can see there's a heart that's sort of etched in the paper behind it. And I like that these rhinestones really do catch the colors. Okay, so the heart and these hearts and this heart in the square, that's one layer. But the couple on top has been added to it. And when I look closer, I can see the difference in the background. But otherwise, that blends in very nicely. And then she's added a real pretty fun piece for texture to always get a little loop piece of ribbon at the bottom. So on these, she did the eyelet punch along the bottom. On these, she punched the sides. So just ways you can add a difference in what you're doing every time. Another similar card, but with a very different front. I like it. Heart with the gloves, chocolates. So one piece, the hearts and the lace hands with the heart. This is one. This is a separate piece, and then she's embellished with some rhinestones, the eyelet punch, and a Be My Valentine inside. These are fun. This last one here, very pretty. Hearts and flowers and chocolates. Can't go wrong with that. And the parchment is one piece. The flower is a second piece that she's glued down, and the chocolates are a third piece. So that's 3 pieces layered together and to a beautiful effect. I would have definitely thought the roses were part of that. I like how she's added some, more adornment. And it mimics, the pearls are nice because it mimics the pearls inside the bow of the roses. I like when you have a kind of a callback to the same items in the image. On Be My Valentine, she's added here, she glued down the roses on top. All right, so Valentine's cards, lots of fun. Now, again, I think I'm increasing in sort of how hard these projects are. And so, I guess I'll claim this one to be the next and increasing sort of craftability here. This is a heart made from a very heavy, nice piece of heavy chipboard. You know, it's more than cardstock. It's got real strength. It's not bending. It's, you know, thicker than it's not as flimsy as cardboard. So a heavy duty cardstock was used for this, or a piece of chipboard is what I would go with. And she made herself a heart. I was impressed. I thought she had traced something. She said no. I think she did a dang good job for eyeballing a heart. Well to her, right? Especially if it's all embellished this way. I think she did a beautiful job. And she did cover both sides. So the back of the chipboard did not look like this. You can sort of see the layers here. She added that beige background and this pink. First she started with a pink sort of damask printed scrapbook paper, and she inked the edges. So she got the chipboard into her heart. She traced that heart onto both pieces of paper. She got the pieces of paper out. She glued them both down very smoothly. I mean, there's no bubbles in this. None. That is smooth, smooth, smooth all the way down. She did use Mod Podge eventually on this, but she got the paper down. She went back and she inked her edges. And then she had fussy cut out from that antique paper all of these beautiful embellishments that she then inked the edges of. When I say she is thorough, she is. It's a great job. And then she put in 2 holes. Beautifully done. If you're doing this project, you may want to put your holes in before you put your pictures down. And you could perfectly space your holes in your heart. But my mom put down her decorations and then went back to put the holes in and realized that she didn't want to interfere with the gloves or with the envelope by punching through them. So she put the holes a bit off center, and then she tied her ribbon so that the knot is correct. And that way when it's hanging, though the holes are off center, it hangs properly and it doesn't bend off kilter. So good job to my mom for figuring out that math on her own. I'm one of those people that needs it to always sort of be in the same spot to make it easier for myself. At least I aim to. But really like it. Like she's got so many different images. You've got a perfume bottle and kind of the same thing behind it. The gloves and the lace. You could just imagine that she's accepted that gift from him on their date. This is another, maybe her neighbor, her friend, and they're on theirs. I don't know. I get very sort of Gladys and Hector vibes when I look at this. If you're a fan of the Gilded Age, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, I like that. So this one requires you to be able to cut out a heart and make that heart pleasing to the eye. Cutting out these images. She didn't make these, so she didn't have to draw these. She just cut them out. And then she Mod Podged it many, many, many times. I believe she put down at least 2 layers of the matte Mod Podge. So she did not go with the high gloss. She told me her decision was to use the matte. She thought that went better with the vibe and tone of the vintage paper. The next artist, she decoupaged herself. It began as an ordinary brown heart box that she picked up at Hobby Lobby. She found the heart for decoupaging on Amazon. She'd looked in Hobby Lobby and she said those were all much too big. She was able to find a size she liked better online. This used a satin Mod Podge, so it has a greater sheen to it than the previous item. And then the Valentines and the paper that she found on Amazon. She used pink felt to fill the interior, and then at the end she went back with an enamel spray, and that's what really gave it that higher gloss. But it is beautifully embellished and decoupaged. Well, it's not embellished. It is a beautifully decoupaged storage box that's felt lined. I absolutely thought my mom bought this when I saw it. She told me she said, Sylvia, I've made crafts for you to feature. I've got a set for you for Valentine's craft bar happy hour. I thought she bought this. And I said, well, I'm looking inside it for the craft. And she goes, no, that's what I did that. She did a flawless job. if you've ever tried to decoupage a box, you have to get this portion really smooth or the lid won't fit back on it, right? Lids of boxes, if they're not typically real loose, so if it's smooth on there, this needs to be. And she did it. I mean, well done. So with that vintage paper, that 8.5 by 8.5 by 8.5 paper, she traced out her lid and she beautifully cut out that heart. And then she did ink her edges of each of the pieces, and then strips. She cut out the strips from the paper and applied it with Mod Podge all around the lip and edge of this lid. And beautifully done. It is smoothed down. There's no air bubbles. There's no ripple. It's very, very, very well done. Same thing with the pox. Here she used so on top she used the 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 8.5 square paper. She cut a circle or a heart. She cut a heart from that 8.5 by 8.5 paper and decoupaged it down with the Mod Podge. For the bottom, she used the Valentine tags that she purchased in a group. She cut off that top part, which would have been the portion you could tie through, and then made sure they didn't repeat as she went around in a beautiful pattern. She inked the edges and then got them right up against each other. Right up. There's no grout gap in these. Straight to it. And I guess she trimmed these just right so it fit in that heart crevice. But, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Well done. Same thing. Nice and smooth as you come around. I thought she bought it. You know, I thought this was part of a set. Like, you could buy these things to go together. If you put this in here and gifted it, I'm in seventh heaven. That is... Actually, I wonder if she's thought about that. Sticking that in here, since it all goes so well. So, very, very lovely. And with the... she told me that, you know, same thing. She just traced out... Well, she used the bottom, traced out on some pink felt, her heart, cut it out, glued it in, and she got it glued in. Really, she must have Mod Podged that in, but it's not stiff, but it is smooth all the way to the bottom. There is no bubbling in that. So, I mean, immaculately done. Immaculate, in my opinion, here. Okay, the final thing she did is, you know, this is not a beginner's craft. I would say that this is deceptively simple, but I think you probably need to know what you're doing with some Mod Podge to get a result that you're proud of, that you would gift away, that looks this smooth and clean and complete and finished. You got to know what you're doing, because you will tear some paper, you'll frustrate yourself. Making this corner seems easier than you think, especially with that little strip. It can be done, but I personally think this is harder than it looks. The one that looks hard and is hard is this final one. And this is a very, very nicely embellished styrofoam heart that began as a styrofoam heart from Dollar Tree. So that is a plain Jane styrofoam heart, right? Now it came already with the loop on it, so you could hang it up, and that's a good decoration to go. But we went further. I had an idea to make some sequins craft. My mom sat down, she grabbed this heart, and she got going. And she did sequin by hand all of this section with this pack of sequins and small. We actually ran short of the push pins, and that ended some of the sequining projects that we had. But she liked what she had done, and then after she got there, she goes, I don't want to finish doing it. I want to do other things. I think that's a good end to the heart. So she went back, and she had these two butterflies from her stash with the Dollar Tree stickers. These were flowers we'd already, in her stash, these beautiful roses. I guess these are maybe carnations or mums. Kind of your choice on what that flower would be. These are push pins. So these pearls are very thick push pins, which makes it easy. Push, push, push. She glued down the small bows from a sticker set. So glue, 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 glue. The pearls are push pins, and all of the sequins are put in with push pins. And so this is another beautiful hanging piece. I'm sorry if I've been a bit, if my voice sounds a bit affected. I've not been sniffling, thankfully, but ooh, here in Central Texas, it is cedar fever, and that always gets me stopped up. So if you watch along and you've heard my voice and you say, she sounds a bit different today, why? That's it. But I'm in a happy hour because I'm getting to look at so many cute Valentine's gifts. And so now that I've seen all these very, very lovely, I want to say tasty little Valentine's treats. I guess because I keep thinking about all those chocolates that were inside these. We'll come to that decision part where I say, what was my favorite of these crafts? Do I have a favorite? I'm very charmed by the Garland. I think this is really sweet. I can hang that up a lot of places. And it looks so nice for being something. When I looked closer at it, you know, that wasn't hard to make. I love and respect you, Mom. But truly, it looks really good, but it didn't require a whole lot of like crafty effort, right? This took some effort. She put some effort and time into this bad boy. I can't imagine. I do know. I can't imagine. I remember watching her put these sequins to it. This has a really nice outcome. I would put this. This would be a nice place to hang because it's not too big. It would be good to hang up in a display spot. But I think my favorite thing is probably here. I love this box. I think she did a beautiful job with it. And more than that, I could see myself using it for lots of things. Store stuff in it. I like something that's pretty and functional, so I would probably set it on my desk during the holidays, during Valentine's, or put it out. Maybe put some flowers in it that will only last a little bit of time. Put a small jar with some real live flowers in it, and then when I'm done, clean it out, empty the jar, stick the jar in here, and stick it away, and then have that for the next season. Like this garland I would put in here along with other things. These are fun. But yeah, if I had a favorite, I'm going to go with the box. Box is my favorite because it's just so beautiful and so very well done. But let me know what you think. If you've been working on any Valentine's projects, I always love to hear about those. I've got I bought plain Valentines in bulk, one of those sets at the store. I'm going to give those out to my coworkers, but my mom's done a beautiful job with things she's going to be giving out and gifting, and that she's just made for herself in her own display. I think that's the best part. So I hope you enjoyed our time today. As always, we'd love it if you would like and subscribe on our videos. We have a happy hour every week. We want to give you a chance to relax and enjoy a creative moment. If you'd like more, find more in our playlist, and we will see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.